Hey guys, so I'm just reporting on this October 5th share by the SSA. Um, and it's about mental health for veterans. So that's why I wanted to reiterate it, because I know a lot of times people don't see these things. They actually are sharing a particular organization who apparently endeavors to help veterans with mental health issues. And they were kind of pointing them out. So I wanted to point it out as well in case you wanted to do your due diligence. Can I speak? Been a long day. Do your due diligence. And if the shoe fits and you need some help, this might be a resource. So I'm going to attach the kind of like the blog, I guess, from the SSA down below. And you can see it for yourself. And we can also look at what that organization is. So they go into the difficulties many veterans suffer, including post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety, and how these effects can be more pronounced in veterans than in others, given some of their circumstances. They indicate that the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, reports that 20% of veterans who served in Iraq or Afghanistan experience PTSD or depression. And they also point out that many of them don't seek help due to perhaps the continued perceived stigma. And I say perceived because that's what they're saying. But is it just only perceived by the veteran, or is it actually still a stigma to some degree? I mean, it depends, I guess, what we think stigma is. If a recognition of limitations means stigma, then I guess it's a stigma. But then so would everything else be. But anyway, it is definitely a concern where many don't seek help when it's mental health because of how they think perhaps they're going to be treated. And it might make it, as they see it, harder to get through and get on. If they're in the military at the time and have a current military career, many are concerned that that will be affected also. So there's the suffering in silence, right? So they're talking about an organization called Give an Hour. They say it's a mental health focused nonprofit founded in 2005, and it provides confidential and free mental health services for veterans and others with mental health issues. So it's not exclusively veterans, apparently. They go on into some very general rhetoric here. They've pointed out there is an increase in resources for mental health because there's more growing awareness. So that's always a good thing. I don't know about everybody else's area, but I know in our area, we seem to always be lacking in psychiatrists. Lots of therapists, but very few will take something like Medicaid unless they're through a bigger organization and that's what they do. And a lot of those struggle to do a competent job. Unfortunately, whether it's, they don't provide the mental health records to the claimants for their cases. They say, oh, no, we don't share records. Well, then how is the person going to prove their case? Like such as Social Security disability, potentially VA, but at least with the VA, I have to say, a lot of times the mental health treatment is there. The person is seeing someone in the VA, and then those records are very accessible, certainly for VA disability, right? Yeah, so if we go and pop over to Give an Hour, they say military, they do seem to focus on it. Military veterans and loved ones. That's on their main page. So that does suggest it's focused on military and maybe their families. And I'll just give you their little blurb here. Give an hour. That's the name of it. Their military program addresses the unique challenges and needs for prioritizing mental health and emotional well-being in the military community. Give an hour's approach to mental well-being and treatment assists in closing access and delivery gaps to reduce extensive delays that can make mild symptoms worse and recovery more difficult. By diversifying options for care, Give an Hour addresses the disparity between available mental health professionals and community needs. And that is a big thing because, like I said, so many places, psychiatrists, so those are the MDs, right? The prescribers, they are few and far between. So then there's therapists, which are worth their weight in gold when they're good, for sure, but they can't prescribe, of course. But and they seem to be more available because you don't need as much schooling, et cetera, et cetera. But the lack of, I wish there was something that was kind of like both, where the person prescribing was also the person giving counseling and coping skills and all that stuff. Because unless the medications management person, the psychiatrist or the psychiatric nurse practitioner, et cetera, or it could even be a PCP, unless they review each other's records, it seems very fragmented. And, the prescriber, if they don't know what the therapist is seeing, it seems almost like that would be malpractice. If a psychiatrist who sees someone for 30 minutes or less every 3 months is prescribing, but that person's getting mental health therapy and they're not even reviewing those records, to me, that's very strange. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. What do you guys think? Anyway, they have both mental health counseling and mental health education. Looks like they have where you can find individual counseling. And there's alternative provider search. There's custom workshops and well-being resources. They say there's trauma-informed peer support, crisis management. And they have various programs through which they serve the military community, such as Afghan allies, reserve component, military spouse, and military caregivers. They do indicate that they do not provide crisis services, but they do have a link that I'm not going to go to if you need to find crisis resources, and that is on this main page, so I'm going to share this too. Anyway, so the SSA is trying to, express its attention that it's paying to veterans. So let's see if they actually are, versus just sharing about an entity, Give an Hour, who is. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it. I will see you later. I'm going away for the weekend, so I'm very excited. We don't get to do this. Well, I did it last week business-wise, but we don't get to do this too often. So anyway, it's going to be business too, but it's still nice to get away. All right, have a great weekend. Bye now.